I see. To a guy that gets more FaceTime than Steve Harvey, it is Steve Azar. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, that's funny. Hey, buddy, can you hear me good?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
Wow.
Coming in good. Are you speaking on Delta soil or elsewhere?
Well, I was just on Dallas soil, but we are in Delta soil. We're back, and was doing a little Marshall, our friend Marshall Henderson, and Chloe. Has come to the Delta soil. I think I don't know how many years in a row, but they finally tied the knot. So we were there, and I was telling Will that we had a great little jam with Andy Kennedy and Morgan Freeman and I. We did a little bad Leroy Brown together, and I have the footage, and I probably should never release it.
Well, wait a minute. Morgan was singing? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. He's a good singer. You imagine that voice of his. When we play golf together, he's always singing.
Yeah.
He has music going, and he got a really good voice.
I didn't know that. Does he play an instrument?
Yeah. Pretty cool. That voice is not just for talking. He's got some pipes.
How old is Morgan now?
I think Morgan's closing in on 85. I could be wrong, but I got to tell you something. He looks fantastic.
Well, and I don't think he's slowing up at all because, he's cranked out movies, a couple of movies. Seems like he's putting out about 2 a month, but he's been so good for the state of Mississippi, too, as far as bringing some of that business home.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I tell you what, he told me years back, I told him we were talking about how late it was for me to finally have hits, even though I was making music my whole life and surviving and advancing, to the next level a little at a time. And he said, same thing for him. We sort of had our success at the same age. And he said he just decided right then that he was going to catch up. It basically is what he meant. Yeah. Not exactly in those words, but I said, yeah, I'm not stopping. I'm just getting started, So I understand his passion and love for what he does. And you think about the impact he's made just on the world, and he's ours, which is so cool.
I was watching, spending a lot of time in Clarksdale. That's where my wife is from. Bill Luckett was former mayor, and I knew Bill.
Sure.
And he was in those last 2 movies, little cameos. Yeah. And the last one was the one that they asked me to do some audio on. Is one of the guys on the radio, so I happened to catch that, and I was watching the mayor doing his thing, and the guy could act. I was blown away how good Bill Luckett was.
Yeah, talented man.
Yes.
He was so talented and so good to me, by the way.
Yeah.
Him and Francine back in the Waiting on Joe video days. He's the one that actually got the song Waiting on Joe to Morgan. Morgan has said no a lot of times, but the first time I reached out, because it just didn't make sense. But I've always been really respectful of asking Morgan things along, my time, and just would rather play golf with him, or go just hang with him and just be blessed to be around such a man that just lives for the arts like he does. Yeah. But with that said, Bill was spectacular. Bill had a sort of a pretty cool personality, so I think it would translate to film if you just sort of be yourself. Yeah. And then I want to understand what you did. Did you do a voiceover, or did you do a cameo?
No, that was just one of those things where the sheriff and the participants are driving, listening to the news reports about the breaking news of the murder. I forgot what it was. I don't. As a matter of fact, they asked me to do some of the cuts on there, and I did that. But I didn't even know it was on. I happened to be watching TV, and all
Isn't
of a
that
sudden,
cool?
I was just it's kind of crazy.
Well, your voice is a beautiful thing to wake up to in the morning. I can promise you that. So that's a no-brainer.
I'm sitting there watching the movie, and all of a sudden hear me on the movie, and I think, nobody even told me this, because I'm not even used to this stuff going straight to TV on some of these services.
Yeah,
so I love it. Anyway, that's not what we were here to talk about. Celebrity golf and charity events. Why are we even talking about this thing? This thing is sold out.
It's cool. What's the name of the movie before you jump?
Oh, God. Something about serial killers, something. I forgot what it was. And the weird thing about that is right after that was another one of his movies that he did. And it's also, I think, the second one that Bill was in was also done. Some of that was done in Clarksdale.
Wow. Yeah, it's so cool. Well, I love that. Our film, the incentives and everything. I think we're getting there again, and I know
because we lost out on that. We had some problems because I remember talking to some members of the House and Senate back in those days.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be nice about it. They understood the Hollywood, everything else. And let me paraphrase this. Paul, here's what's happening. We are losing money from some of these people. Not only that, they're not paying us. And and that's and I thought, well, come on, man, is it worth it even on a net loss because of the publicity? And then when you start looking at the figures and the numbers, the answer was no. And as hard as it was for that to be pulled, I could understand why. They've changed, but the good news is they weren't only doing it to us; they were doing it to other states also.
Sure.
So all of that.
You got to audit all that stuff. I guess it's just hard to keep up. There's a significant amount of trust that goes in, especially while the project's going. You know what I mean? Like it's something you don't know who you're making a movie with until the movie's over. Yeah. And you do have to. There is a matter of trust, but I think they've really got a good grip on it right now, and it's starting to do well.
I do too. Oh, I'm just Googling this up. It's called The Ritual Killer.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's good.
You'll love this. Are you kidding me? I just saw it. Directed by George Gallo. That can't be right.
Everybody's going to think it was an inside thing.
No wonder I got the bit. Cole Hauser and Morgan from Cole Hauser did a great job in that one too, though. Cole is, the guy on Yellowstone.
Sure, he's so good. Yeah, he's very good.
All right, now tell me about this. Are you sold out or what on this event?
Yeah, it's insane. We're just so grateful for the generosity. I think about 80%, and I'm going to have to go really look at this, but I think about 80% of the money comes in from out of state and is left here to donate. Obviously, we've had in Jackson, Blue Cross Blue Shield has never let us down. I mean, they have been there for us. Every year, and we have a great time with them. Although last year, I think one of the teams, it wasn't Brian Lagg's team, it was one of the other teams, they got in the playoff with us, and they did lose, and they needed to, and I think they were a little upset that my team won its own tournament, but it's part of the deal. I told them, I said, you have to man up.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we had a great time, and I'm messing with them. They've been great, but, just the support from around the country. CEOs coming in and their companies, and Pearl River's been unbelievable. Like they have come in and they have just come hard for us, and they see what we're doing. I mean, it's one of those things where it's one event a year, but you can't, you stress. In the first year, Paul, I stressed so much because I said, oh my God, you can't put on a party and not give and not be successfil. And people go, oh, if you give this much away, I said, if we don't give away six figures every year, I'm going to die. I'm going to be upset because people were depending on it, especially once you get started in year 3 and 4. Well, we were able to do that, yet Coach Fox was auctioning off his Super Bowl tickets when he was coaching at Denver. We've always had somebody that comes in and does something crazy where we make a big chunk in one spell. So, we've been blessed. We've given about $1.2 million away right at that mark, and that's actual donations to, it's all over the map from Boys and Girls Clubs to Salvation Army to Camp Looking Glass, kids, autistic and anything to do with the arts, scholarships. I mean, there's a list on our website that just it makes you feel good because we've been able to continue to do it. And once you start, you don't want to stop, and then you feel like you don't want to let them down. So it's been a blessing, I can tell you.
Can you hang on for a second?
Sure.
You hear the music in the background. I think you know what that means, don't you?
I love it so much. Yeah, I know. I've learned.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Will is here. He can edit this out if he wanted.
Sure could.
It's live. All right, man. Back in a moment with Steve Azar.
Okay.
Hang on. I almost expect to hear Marty Stewart come in and do a duet with you on that for some odd reason.
Man,
Steve
that was
Azar.
a good thing. I recorded that back in 1999.
Jeez.
And put it out this year.
I know. That's what I said. You should have released it a long time ago. It's a good record.
I might have recorded it before 99. I mean, I can't even keep up anymore. I do know I've got a new song coming out. I'm going to keep putting them out every few months, and it's called "Ain't Nothing I Can Do." It's a new one, and I sort of I dig into my romantic side. There is one.
Yeah. You wrote this? You wrote this? Of course.
Yeah. You know me. I only put out stuff I write because I get I can't remember words from anything else. So.
Well, you got to release that because it comes from Delta soil. It comes up and it has to be captured.
Oh yeah. Paul, I do want to thank you guys. And you sit there and you worry about who you're not thanking on the radio. It's funny. I've always been that way, but now that I've had my show with you guys for over 6 years, I always worry about did I do say something or not say enough. And anyway. You guys, it's Kim and Steve and Will, everybody there, Cammie and Alex, and Gerard comes and now Richard and the teams come in, and it's just awesome. The bus shows up at the Delta Soul. It just looks so cool. Being a guy that spent his life on a tour bus, having that bus, I understand the economics behind that, bringing something and the fuel it takes and the team it takes, and I'm just so blessed to have you guys in my life, and I mean that, and how it affects our foundation. It's vast. How you guys, you're always there for me. I appreciate it.
It is family. It is family.
It is family.
All right, now it's not this weekend, but it's next weekend. Let's play this.
All right.
Miss Loda in Ecru is hearing this, and she says, "You know what? I'd like to pack the people in the car and go see this thing."
Yeah.
When is it? When does it start? Tickets? What will we see? What can we eat?
We don't want them there. We can't get them in the place. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, we're blessed that we're sold out. I mean, it's a struggle. I'm the guy I'm the minister of golf, sort of, me and my buddy Andrew, and we've got to figure out how we're going to get all these teams on the course. So it's difficult because I don't like golf rounds to go over 4 hours.
Well, here's what I was leading to. Couldn't you do another event that would be open?
I as all my friends tell me, they say, Steve, lose my number for the next 6 months. They do this to themselves, and they blame me, but I don't want to see them either at first. Then a few days go by, and we love each other again. But, the deal is, Paul, when you come here, it's all on. Everybody brings their spouses or girlfriends or boyfriends, whatever it is.
It's a beautiful site and a good-looking course too, because we had a chance to be there once. And it's a great venue.
I wish we could do it golf course-wise in late July. Our golf course, it needs heat, like grapes need heat. To grow. It needs to be stressed a little bit, and late in the summer, it just gets to be so lush. But right now, it's like a lot of Delta golf courses. You grew up here, we've had some cool temperatures. Now, we want cool temperatures at the Delta Soul, but we usually don't get them. I quit asking the good Lord for the weather because it usually storms on Friday, and we have to pivot. But as long as we have success and raise money, the group that's there, they all know, and there's never anybody upset that we had to turn Friday's round into a par 3 or, we keep people occupied. Also, it's a family now. I mean, like once you've joined the Delta Soul family, you keep coming in. There are people from all over. I don't know how much time we have, but this is the perfect example of relationships in life. And John Bond, I'm not going to separate State, Ole Miss, Southern. And by the way, let's go Southern. Let's go back to back to back. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. It'll be a whole new thing if we win the national championship again. But with that said, I was just at Marshall Henderson's wedding. We became friends through this charity event. I was the celebrity guest at the Monday after the Masters for Darius Rucker and the boys of Hootie and the Blowfish, and I was the celebrity of this group from Kentucky. They're all doctors, right? And 2 of them own all the gas stations, or, I'm stretching it, but not really, in Kentucky. And they fly on their private jet, and they decided to come to Delta Soul. Well, they saw Marshall Henderson, and they said, why is he here? And I was laughing because I had them paired with him the next day. I had that figured out because they hated him because he gave them misery when he played. Well, he had them on the field this year at the Ole Miss Kentucky game. They were at the wedding with us. They've all become dear friends. And I just think, and then John and Mary Beth stayed with them. I just think that what the Delta Soul has done for me personally has watched all these wonderful relationships blossom.
Yeah.
And it happens all the map, but the world becomes a very small place, especially when Mississippi is the soul that it's rooted in.
Start a wedding chapel there. Let me ask you a question that's totally unrelated.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, here goes.
I'm scared. Go ahead.
These guys who win American Idol, because I was just thinking about this and all our Mississippi talent with these two guys who competed in the top three in the top six, as far as both of them from Amory, Mississippi, much like Trent Harmon. When you win the American Idol, have you heard what you get? Because early on, there were some people who were not happy with the constraints that the company put on you. I'm just asking you a question that you may not know.
No, I can tell you that you did see Carrie Underwood. In fact, I played 20. When Carrie Underwood came right off of the American Idol, she was so big. I did 20 shows with her. She was already prepared and ready. What's happening is, and then you had Daltrey, who didn't win. He finished third. I don't think the constraints were as much. I do know when my buddy Javier Colon won The Voice the first year, that he had to do a certain amount of touring. They're sort of at the mercy of touring, and they'll make a lot of money, is what I hear. But I don't know that to be a fact. I just know that you have to be prepared when you're on TV and you're building this audience. If you don't have music ready as soon as you're allowed to put it out, then it's gone because the show happens. See, the great thing about Chapel Hart was they've been doing this their whole life, and they were prepared. So where preparation met opportunity, they were just waiting for the opportunity because they've been doing it their whole life. So they were prepared, and you see what's happening. They're becoming huge, household names and stars, and they deserve it. Now you see Holly. I'm thinking about Holly, who our Miss Mississippi, who killed it on The Voice, and she's coming back to the Delta Soul. I said, look, you can't come to the Delta Soul last year and sing and not come this year. And she committed before she found out she didn't, before she got to the final 8, and that's when she committed, and she's coming, and we're so excited. But and maybe Holly and I may work together, but we got to suss that out. But I mean, she really needs music out yesterday.
Yes.
And I don't really know what the rule is there, so I'm going to find out from her. But
it doesn't guarantee you success in the business because you've got more of them who have they're playing small crowds now than the Kelly Clarkson. So it's still tough, and in a business that is tougher than ever. Your fame fades fast.
Opportunities to be heard. I'm on this show Bandit. I'm going to be on episode 7, and they've done 3 episodes. They are going to have some stars come out of this. I can tell you.
Whoa! Where is this?
Well, it's on Access TV. The 3rd episode just happened. I'm a mentor, and I'll be on the end, but I hear I got a decent amount of FaceTime where there's 5 bands living in a household. But let me explain. And the music you can download after each show. But the girl Starland, so there's a group of mentors. Vince Neil from Motley Crue, one of the judges. Yeah. But let me tell you, Starland is a girl that founded Gaga. And she won like a multi-million-dollar suit because I think they tried to eliminate her from the process. But she developed Lady Gaga. So she's one of the ones mentoring one band. And then my buddy Dave Pahanish is a great songwriter mentoring another.
Is that her name? Is that her stage name or is that her real name? Starland.
That's her real name. What maybe her stage name? That's the only name I know of. So,
Starland Vocal Band. She's breaking some rules there. So.
Yeah. Well, you may be right. It's probably a stage name. But with all that said, the show's really cool. And they're starting from the song up.
Listen, we're almost out of time here. But when is that? Is it already on the air?
Access TV. You can go to YouTube, or you can go anywhere.
TV on YouTube.
TV, that's that.
We will do that. Listen, we just have to have more time together. That's it.
I love you, buddy. I love you. I appreciate
Success coming up. Hopefully everything's a success, because at the end,
thank you.
The people who get this works wonders and miracles as far as your donations, and hats off to you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
My brother and broadcast, Steve Azar.
My boy, Fat Al.
See you later. Back with more next.